Hello guys, my name is Telly and welcome to Daddy Share Space. So in this video I am revisiting my rolling wall cart, and now it's time to do a little bit of sanding. I have my Dewalt Flex Volt dust extractor and I will be pairing that with my Dewalt drywall sander in this video. I haven't used this in a while. The sandpaper that's on there is not really great for this sander because it doesn't have enough holes to work with the dust extraction. So, but we'll see how it works out. And yeah, we'll just fire it up. Now I know I can pair this to turn the vacuum off and on. However, I have to go back and read the manual or look online and figure out how to do it. I've done it before. I actually did a video about it, but I haven't done it in so long I can't remember. But anyway, so we're gonna get started. I put quite a bit of mud on this wall because I'm still trying to learn the skill of applying drywall. So it took me a lot of coats on there, and it still doesn't look that great. As I mentioned in the previous video, I think I might have to start trying to play around with mixing my own mud, because I'm thinking I might get a better experience as opposed to using the store-bought pre-mix. I'm thinking that there may be a consistency that's a little bit easier to work with as you become more skillful in this. So we'll see. It could be that those big pre-made things are more for like just patchwork or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, this sheetrock was used, so I used it in the previous wall carts, and it was just sitting in the back of the shop, so it's like not really in great condition. And that's why in a previous video you saw me cut out some sections and replace it. And that's I used the Makita saw to be able to cut out, which I really like that tool because it makes it easy to make drywall repairs with that. You can get nice square cuts if you need to. So I did that. Oh, and here I'm pulling out my Festool drywall sander. I want to see what this is like. This is like my maiden voyage with this. I've been meaning to pull this thing out for the longest time, but I needed to do something like this, like build this wall cart, because you don't just go around and just tear up walls to do this. So I built my own wall in the garage so that I can fire this thing up and try it out. And so this is my first time, and I think in my hand there I have maybe some 180 grit paper, but I forgot I bought a box, and I think this one's 120, so I decided to use the 120 grit paper instead of the 180. And remember, the Festool drywall sander, I got the more expensive one, so it uses random orbit, like a random orbit sander, as opposed to just spinning. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I put this thing on the wall, it was so much more of a pleasant experience. Now, of course, it's probably like 3 times the price, but I noticed it was, it just smoothed those things right up. And of course, because it has paper that works with the holes in the head, you'll see too that the dust extraction is superior on the Festool. So of course that could be improved if Dewalt made proprietary paper that lined up with their holes. So yeah, we'll see. You can see that the Festool sander has a light so that you can kind of see the imperfections. Now, because my sanding job is basically a butcher's job, all I'm doing is kind of knocking it down to make it a little bit more flat. And I'm doing that while I'm also learning about the tool, because I have never used it, so this is all new to me. But just comparing the two, and this is one of the reasons why I buy so many tools. I like to see what one is like against the other one. It's hard to take someone's opinion. I mean, you can, but seeing is believing. And I felt like the experience with the Festool was superior to the Dewalt, even though I don't have any problems with using the Dewalt. Now, the suction obviously is better with the Festool because I'm using it with a corded vacuum. I'm using it with the CT36. And I felt like at times like it was sucked to the wall, so I didn't even have to, hold it as much as I did with the Dewalt. The Dewalt didn't have as much suction power going against the wall. And you can just look at that left wheel card on the left side there. You can see all the sawdust there, whereas I sand it right above on the right and you don't see as much sawdust. So definitely a superior experience with the Festool as far as that is concerned. But I did notice that my mud was very uneven. I started to sand through and show some of the paper at different areas, so I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that, because this wall doesn't have to be perfect. So as I mentioned before, I'm doing multiple things here. I'm learning how to record these videos by recording myself on camera, but I'm also practicing how to do mudding, taping, and sanding of drywall. But then I also this is just a shop project, so it doesn't have to look great. So I might have mentioned in a previous video that I'm thinking about getting a little hopper thing so I can spray it with texture and do like an orange peel so that it doesn't have to be as nice. I don't know if I'm going to do that right now. I think the one that I was looking at was about $50 at Harbor Freight. I already have the compressor, and all I would need to do is figure out if I need to buy a special mix for that, or if I could just use regular mud, like buy some powdered mud and mix it up myself. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to do a little bit more research. But the goal is ultimately to get this wall finished so that I can put the French cleats up on there. I did buy some white paint. I'm going to paint it after I kind of get it halfway decent as far as sanding it down. So I figure with each new project, I'll do like a little bit more drywall. I'm not going to sit here and try to perfectly do this when the whole goal is functionality, but I'm also trying to take as much or get as much experience as I can with each and every thing that I do. So here I pulled out one of my Festool battery powered sanders just to kind of touch up a few areas. Not really sure what I'm doing because it still looks pretty bad, but all experience is good experience. So in the end, I end up coming back and putting on a little bit of a skim coat to fill in some of the divots in the area there to kind of make it look a little bit more presentable. I'll have to come back and do some more sanding. I might use like a little lightweight block sander so that I don't go all the way down to the paper. I'm adding this extra mud because I did sand some of the paper and it got a little bit fuzzy, so of course that's going to look worse when I go to paint it. So but yeah, I mean, overall, I enjoy doing these things. I really like it's almost like if you're an artist and you drew or you paint, I'm sure they enjoy that process, and I enjoy this process, whether it be working on projects like this or working on my cars. I do get frustrated, and sometimes I have to step away, but overall, I enjoy the challenge and learning how to refine my technique to get from a novice level to become something more than that. I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to take many hours. There are people that do drywall for 8 to 10 hours a day, and I'm doing it every so often whenever I get a chance for maybe an hour or so. So my skills are going to grow at such a slower rate, and also combine the fact that most people aren't, like building the way I built the wall, 16 on center studs. That's more of a carpentry building type technique. And then applying the drywall, even though you have handymen that can do all of those things, obviously I'm not on that level, and I'm trying to learn all of those things at the same time. I'm trying to learn, the studding of the wall. I'm trying to learn the application of the drywall, the finishing of the drywall, and then going next to the painting of the drywall. And then I'll come back, I'll put some French cleats on there so that you'll have kind of like leading lines, like as you can see on the right, the line are going in, and then on the left you have the lines will be coming in. And I put this all on a rolling cart so that I can still move it out of the way and use the garage door if I need to. Now what I do realize is I made it a little bit too tall, because I just did this all out of my head. I didn't do any proper measurements. So I'm probably going to cut it down, because I want to have the ability to, like, if I want to push it outside the front, outside in the driveway, to get it out of the way, or I can use it to kind of like block the neighbors, on the side, the house that's right to the next, right next door to me. If I wanted to kind of tinker around outside, I can kind of pull that out and use that as like a faux blocking wall, so somebody's not just like all up in my mix. So I think the way that I'm going to do that is once I kind of get it primarily finished, I may take a 2x4 and put it just below where I need it to be cut off, screw it in all the way or across the top, and then I'll go with the Sawzall, cut off the top. So I'm gonna get some demo work, cut it all the way across the top, and then I'll put a cap on it, a 2x4 cap, because I'll cut the original one off, and that'll drop it down a little bit lower. And then the plan is to take all of those woodpecker tools and move those over to this rolling cart because they're not very heavy, and it should be fine if I need to roll it around, as long as, you know, I'm not doing anything too sophisticated or too wild with it. And then what I can do on the right side is I can make some stands or some tool holders, and I think I'm gonna put my Festool tools up there, because right now they're kind of everywhere, because I did take a lot of sustainers, I took them out and put them in the house, but I pulled the tools out so that I can use them, but they're not really in a position where they're kind of like clean and organized. So I want to kind of bring a little bit more, I guess you say, direction to the shop or organization to the shop, so that when I go to do my projects, I'm not always having to look for this or find that or whatever. Like the first day I did mud on this wall, I couldn't find any of my mud knives. I didn't know where they were. I just took the ones that I had. And so I did a really bad job the first day. And then the second day, even though I found my mud knives, I had old mud. And so right here, this bucket is brand new, so it should work out better. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in my next video. I want to thank you for taking time to watch it. Later.